When do I know if I'm ready to hire an assistant? Well, in today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive into figuring out when, why, and how you should go about hiring an assistant. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
T-minus like 4 weeks until college football season kicks off.
Nobody give a shit.
I do, John. I do.
Is this when you and Gus Malzahn and the Golden Knights of
We are not the Golden Knights. We are not a hockey team. Okay, we are the Knights of University of Central Florida. I love all college football, SEC football, Big Ten football, Big 12 football. Like, let's go. High school football.
You know why
it's football season,
I don't
John.
like it? Because when it's football season, you know what I see every morning? Yellow school buses.
Yes.
And that's how I live my life now. But I was like, are there yellow buses on the road? Then that's when I know it's time to stay indoors.
You know what's interesting about that? I got here to the studio so quick this morning because I left my obligatory 5 minutes late.
Of course.
Okay, I'm gonna be late to my own funeral, y'all.
Yeah.
But never like grotesquely late, just annoyingly
Just late
3
enough.
to 5 minutes late,
Yeah.
right? So I was bound to show up here 5 minutes late, but because it's still summertime, because school has not gone in session, I literally slid in to the parking lot at 10 o'clock in 59 seconds, which you and I agreed we'd get here at 10 this morning. I should have got here at 9:45 according to Vince Lombardi.
I understand, but
Vince
the
Lombardi.
problem is in Florida, specifically Florida. I guess the kids here are so stupid that y'all stay in school year round. So whereas in Massachusetts, where I'm from, where I was educated most of my life, we had 3 to 3.5 months off for summer. But y'all have like 2 weeks off and go right back to school.
The kids get out the end of May. They go in the second week of August.
That is blasphemy. I got out the first week in May, didn't go back to like middle of September.
Yeah, and that's why you had to go to the University of Tampa because you couldn't get into Florida State or UCF.
It did take
I digress.
It did take me 5 years to graduate high school, and I always forget that. It took me 5 years to graduate high school. But I did a post-grad year, prep school, you know?
Yeah, prep school. Is that what they call it? They call it prep school? So nonetheless, good thing both your parents were in education. You know, it worked out well for you. Yeah, it worked out well.
Right.
Yeah, so keep talking shit about Florida. Let's go back to Massachusetts.
I tried to get into UCF. They said not only can you not finish, you can't even get in.
Exactly. So I'm getting excited. Like by the time this drops, we should be like pushing up on August, right? We should be close to August. I don't know our timeline in terms of scheduling. More than likely, this is dropping when we're at the FAMP annual trade show and convention.
Are you what level donor are you this year? Booster for
UCF?
Yeah.
I'm a shareholder. I'm part of the shareholder society. I sit on the 50-yard line. I'm not even going to hide from it anymore. Like I am home side, 50-yard line, lower bowl, shareholder society. I'm all in. And for the first time, I even bought season tickets to basketball. What's up now?
Well, what's up now?
And took my family to a UCF baseball game. I've never done the trifecta of baseball, football, and basketball all in the same year.
I look forward to looking up towards the bleachers or the rafters and just seeing that TLOP sponsored by this game is brought to you by TLOP.
We have a long way to go. Right now, we're stuck at like 20,000 subs on YouTube. Y'all, what can you do? I'm going to ask a favor. Anyone who's listening, anyone who's tuning in, help us get to 30,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. The channel's banging. But nonetheless, hey, we all have an angle that we have to work, and we have a hustle we have to grind.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people in our industry, that's the mortgage industry, John, that they're grinding.
Yeah.
They're hustling.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out how to level up.
Yeah.
They're looking at their days, their weeks, their months, and they're like, I can't do it all.
I can't.
I'm burning at both ends.
Dustin, I think it's time for me to hire an assistant. I can't do it all.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. And first and foremost, if you're going to hire an assistant and you're not being coached, stop there. Stop there. I don't know many business professionals who have built a team or a practice and they don't have a business coach. Now, you may have a business coach because your company provides it, right? Like my company provides business coaching to our loan officers. That's like a benefit to come work for my company. Is like, hey, we get free coaching.
Well, yeah.
They have systems and processes that I can tie into. I use that to go out and recruit branches and to recruit area managers and loan officers because they're looking for that type of support. But before you hire an assistant, you need to be coached. If you don't know where to be coached, like there's a dozen coaching programs out there that specialize in the mortgage space. There's probably 5 or 6 of them that are really good. We are one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like TLOP has their own coaching platform. I love it because it's subscription based. I love it because it's membership based. I also love it because the investment is so affordable, yet the value is just over the top. Whether it's me coaching you, Coach Gwen, Coach Brian, Coach Kayla, Coach Ross, or Coach Christy, like these are all top performers who have been in the business, who teach based on what they did to get to where they are, and more importantly, what they're doing to stay where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have done team building. All of us have had opportunities to run branches and to produce loans at a high level, and we have to be systematized and process oriented. And what I would tell you is before you hire an assistant, make sure you have a coach. You don't need to spend $3,000 a month for your coach. You may want to. That's out there. We don't offer it, but it's out there. We ask you to spend less than $3,000 for the whole freaking year,
Mm-hmm.
and you have access to all of those coaches and all of our content, all of our training, and all of our scripts. But just know the first thing you need to do is make sure you have somebody who's going to help you navigate this new world, because most of us don't have experience team building. We don't have experience managing other people. And before you hire an assistant, you have to A, make sure you're ready, but B, make sure you're hiring the right person. And my first tip, the right person will not be someone who's exactly like you. That's the very first tip. And we're going to get into this. And by the way, I talked about coaching and a coaching platform and resources. We actually have a resource that we provide to our coaching clients, right, to the community members of the TLOP MLO coaching community, where it's just a one-page document that is a exercise that I would make anybody do
Mm-hmm.
before they ever hired an assistant. So remind me to circle back to that, John.
Okay.
I'll give it away for free on this particular call. I'll describe it to you. And if you actually want the document, I'll have you reach out to Nikki at tloponline.com. And Nikki spells it Nikki at tloponline.com, and tell her that you want the one-page document that I discussed on today's episode that'll help you decide how to hire the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll also tell you this, Coach Gwen Swain, who is a TLOP coach, TLOP faculty, an amazing producing area manager out of Boise, Idaho. I have yet to meet someone better than her at actually writing job descriptions that attract the right type of applicant.
Right.
And I'm going to share a little bit of her juice.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, if you're a member of the coaching community, that's why we have Coach Gwen on staff. She'd be a great person when she does her hour-long coaching per month, and you have 30 minutes to ask her anything. That would be a great question to ask her.
Yeah.
Help me write the right job description and job ad so I attract the right people.
There you go.
All right. So those are two things I want to make sure that we get back to when we conclude today's episode.
Okay.
Right. So you're going to email Nikki at tloponline.com, Nikki. And Nikki, if you're looking for it, she'll give you for free the one-page document that I walk all loan originators or mortgage brokers through in terms of trying to determine less about who to hire, but what they're going to do. That's what the document is. The document is figuring out what the person's going to do.
There you go.
But before we get there, let's talk about why. Like, can we start with why? Actually,
yeah.
where do you want to start, John?
I know why, because Dustin, I'm drowning. I'm closing 3 loans a month, and I could just 10x my business if I had an assistant, Dustin. I'm doing 2 to 3 loans a month, and I'm drowning. But if I just had that one person helping me out, I could close at least 15 to 3,000 loans a month, Dustin.
Okay, I love this role play because I'm going to give you exactly what I say, because I've heard that a dozen times a month for the past 12 years, okay? For the past 12. That's 144 times 12. I can do some quick math, but I can't do quick math that much. I've heard it 1,800 times.
Where's my
right?
abacus? Yeah,
I've heard it at least 1,800 times. My knee-jerk reaction, this is me being a bit of a dick.
Let's go.
But tough love. John, you don't need an assistant. You need to get better. You need to get better. Okay, that's okay. No pain, no gain. We all learn that, right? We have to get out there and feel the pain. I was taught, and I still teach breed, and live one team member per every 5 transactions. Let's start there. If you want a rule of thumb, you as a full-time mortgage broker, mortgage sales professional should be able to fund 5 loans a month, which means you're probably generating 30 leads a month, a lead a day, including Saturdays and Sundays, except for in February where there's only 28 or 29 days. But you should be able to fund 5 loans a month working your 36 to 48 hours a week on your own, by yourself, right? Assuming you have a good processor who communicates to your borrowers and gets conditions for you, okay, because that's a big assumption, you should be able to do 5. When I started doing this, in terms of team building, it was 7 units per team member. I'm able to back it down and say 5. I'm going to be nice. Okay, I was taught 7. I'm going to teach you 5. So at a bare minimum, John, if you're doing 3, I think you need to get better. I think you may be wasting your time. I think you might not be intentional enough with your activities. And the problem I have seen people like you, John, make is instead of getting better, you think the answer is to throw a body at the problem.
Hell yeah.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you, John, when you onboard this assistant, someone's going to have to teach them, train them, and then they're going to have to inspect what they expect. And if you're not good at doing X, Y, and Z, how can you teach someone else how to be good at X, Y, and Z? If you're not good yourself, how can you then hold them accountable?
Because I will get good at X, Y, and Z once I hire someone to help me with the A, B, and C, Dustin.
All right, perfect. And then my next reaction would be, are you going to put your money where your mouth is? Because doing 2 to 3 units a month as your branch manager, as your divisional executive, as the company owner, I'm not going to be able to pay for this person. It's going to have to come out of your commission.
Whoa, what?
Yes.
Oh,
Now, as your company owner, your branch manager, your divisional executive, I would love to reward you for when you hire this assistant. I'll even help you find them, interview them. I'll reward you when you actually double your business. When you actually go from doing 3 loans a month to 6, I can put in some volume-based incentives that will bonus you. But typically, if you're only doing 3 loans a month, I'm going to tell you, in my professional experience, I love this Colin Powell-ism, right? People say, in my humble opinion, and he says, in my humble experience. So, John, in my humble experience, if you're only doing 3 loans a month, you don't need an assistant. You need to get better. When you start generating 30, 40 leads a month, you're funding 5, 6 loans a month, and you want more, you want to become better, you want to become more consistent, that, to me, is my aha moment that I need to hire someone. Now, I say that, yet full disclosure, the coach on our staff that funds the most units, Ross Woods, he started as an LOA. After a year and a half or 2 years, he became a all-in loan originator, and he must have read 10X is greater than 2X. When he was only funding 3 units a month, he went out and out of his own dollar, his own dime, paid for an assistant. But Ross is geared a little bit different.
Right.
He's wired a little bit different, right? And he did so because never once in his imagination was he only going to do 3 loans a month. He only saw himself as a 30 unit a month producer. So every one of his goals, his aspirations, the systems and processes he was building, the team he was putting together, it was all to do
like
30.
Inevitable.
From the get-go, it was to do 30. So I would then say the second part, are you thinking big enough for this assistant? And is this assistant somebody that you're hiring so you can have better work-life balance, at which point you're willing to make less money? Or is this assistant because you're trying to go from 5 loans to 10 loans?
Whoa, neither and both, Dustin. The honest reason why I want an assistant is so I can bring them on, work less, and potentially make more money. Duh.
Okay, cool. That works. That works in about 3 to 5 years if you're good.
Oh.
Because somebody's going to have to train them. Someone's going to have to manage them. Someone's going to have to hold them accountable. And by the way, this is a work in progress. So you're going to implement, learn, react, make changes, implement, learn, react, make changes, while the professional that you onboarded is learning their craft, learning their trade, but you're also starting to see their chinks in their armor. You're starting to see their deficiencies. You're dealing with life events with them. And it isn't I hired somebody so I can do less, make the same money. And It just doesn't work that way. Now, can you get there? Yes. That is the dream, right? The dream is to have an assembly line. The dream is to be so systematized and process oriented that you as the professional focus on your 20% that matters, your 20% that makes the phone ring, your 20% that's the highest paying, your 20% that you enjoy doing the most. And you've hired others to take out the 80% that you don't necessarily enjoy doing, that's not necessarily the highest paying, the things that are preventing you from doing the more of the 20%, and that becomes their 20%, right? And I'm getting this from the book 10x is better than 2x, where they really dive deep into that theory of focusing on the 20%. We've always taught it. You and I have done episodes on green time versus red time, prioritizing your sales calls, right? We having $20 an hour associates do $20 an hour work, so loan originators can go focus on the $200 or the $500 an hour work. But I like the book because the book really does a deep dive into how that actually works, not just through theory, but how other business owners, guys like James Clear, guys like Mr. Beast, how they've implemented it into their day-to-day. He even gives an example in the book of this real estate agent who now is like in the Hall of Fame at Keller Williams because she's like, I don't know, a minority owner and she runs one of the biggest territories. But that's all part of the 10X theory. If you're going to be hiring an assistant, it's hopefully so that you can increase your business while also becoming more consistent, while also finding a way to become more balanced in terms of work and life.
I'm going to ask you a question. When looking to hire said assistant, what are the 2 most important qualities you look for when firing? I could have said 5 or could have said 3, but I decided with 2. What are the 2 most important qualities that you look for?
So this is going to vary from individual to individual.
Okay.
I come from the camp, and I'm going to give a Nick Saban. We talked about college football kicking off the episode and me getting excited about it. Nick Saban, one of the best college football coaches ever.
Allegedly.
And his coaching tree, right? The coaches that have come underneath him and then they go on to become very successful head coaches themselves is legendary. And Nick Saban would only hire a position coach that he knew one day he would lose because they're going to go get a better position at a competing university. When I hire, I look to hire strong, ambitious professionals that want to come work for me because they're going to learn from me, but they have a career trajectory that's going to allow them to grow within my team, and eventually I may lose them. Now, I've always been a branch manager, area manager, divisional executive. So if I lost somebody because they were done being my loan partner and they wanted to go out and be their own loan officer, I still had an opportunity to benefit because I benefit off the company's overall volume, overall profitability, overall productivity. So maybe it was easier for me to say that, but at the same time, I only want all-stars on my team. I only want stud athletes. I only want guys and girls that want to get after it, that want to learn, that want to get bitten by the bug and eat it up. So I always look for those people. I want high aptitude, and I want servants, like servant leaders, people who love to help others because either they love to help me and they live to serve the needs of the business, which also includes our clients. So, or it means that they love helping people and our job is to help people, right? Whether it's real estate agents, builders, and our other referral sources, or whether it's the actual customer or the borrower that we're serving, they're in this because they see it as a greater cause, helping people obtain home ownership to generate wealth. So the first thing I'm looking for is somebody who is competent and who loves to serve others for this position. And I want somebody with drive. Personally, I have a colleague of mine, not necessarily. Nope. He would rather, I don't get this. It's not my way of doing things. He would rather hire someone who's good, who is
because they're insecure and don't want to be overshadowed by their assistant. I said it.
Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, look, there's many theories on that where he's like, nope, I want someone who's good. I want someone who wants the security of this paycheck, who knows what they're doing, they know how to do it, and they don't aspire to be any more because I don't need them to be anything more besides good at this one job. That's not who I am. That's not how I live my life, and it's not the people I want to surround myself with.
Well, that being said, like outside of just being a complete dumbass, what are the big red flags when you see somebody and like, nope, that's not going to work? Because you need a certain level of aptitude, as you might say.
Well, the very first thing I'm looking at is consistency in job history. Like, what does your job history look like? I mean, I've interviewed a 23-year-old that I loved her experience. Loved it. She was 23, did not have a college degree. But you know what her experience was? 2 years at Chick-fil-A from age 15 to 17. 3 years working at Publix as a cashier. By the way, Publix is one of the best supermarkets in the entire world.
The best.
They dominate the Southeast for our listeners in California, Texas, or in the Pacific Northwest. But if you are a teenager and you worked at Chick-fil-A and you worked at Publix, you have been exposed to really good culture. 2 years for a teenager might as well be 20 years for a grown-ass adult, right?
Right.
And then parlay that experience to a customer service role where when you interviewed her, her duties and her responsibilities were one in which she had to deal with irate customers. She had to deal with scheduling and logistics, and she did that well. So when she came in, although she was only 23, did not have a college degree, nor any experience in banking, personal finance, or mortgage, that resume spoke to me. And then she was hungry, right? Then she was, I mean, you could tell by interviewing her, she's an avid learner, right? Questions that I would ask people, like if you were interviewing for a job at TLOP, I bet one of the first questions I'd ask you is name me 3 of your favorite podcasts.
Sure.
Okay, we're a podcast. We are a podcast that through the popularity of the podcast, we have been able to launch a business coaching company specifically for mortgage industry. Okay, but we are a podcast. I'm going to want to be around people who love to create content, who love to listen to podcasts, and I'm going to say, who are you listening to? If I were to write a job ad, and okay, I'm going to tease, this is Gwen Swain's secret power. This is what I learned from her. I teased this in the beginning. I'm going to give it to you now. If I were to write a job description for, let's say, a production assistant here at TLOP Entertainment LLC, or let's say I wanted a dialer, a salesperson, an SDR they call them, right? A business development representative, I think BDR. Okay, somebody that's going to be helping us give demos of our product, help educate mortgage loan originators on why they need our coaching program, and then get them to sign up and onboard them. I may start my job description with must know who Dave Ramsey is, must listen to Joe Rogan, must love Alex Hormozi. Because the right person is going to read that and be like, I know who Dave Ramsey is. Oh, I love listening to Joe Rogan. I might not listen to him all the time because episodes are long AF. And dude, I've been following Alex Hormozi for the past 3 years. That dude's a beast. Okay, that would be how I could potentially write the right job description to attract it. The first thing to get back to your question that I'm looking at is the what is your history of employment? If you're somebody who has gaps in your employment, if you're somebody who hasn't consistently stayed anywhere, if you're somebody who hasn't been promoted when you were there, again, even if you went from cashier to lead cashier, I'm probably not excited. Like, I'm probably not excited to onboard you. And then for me, following the Nick Sabanism, if you're not asking me questions about what does my career trajectory look like, walk me through years 2, year 5, year 7, then I'm probably disinterested in onboarding you as well. And then if the first thing out of your mouth that you ask me is about PTO, you lost me.
Give me some time off, damn it, 2 weeks to start.
I am all for decompressing. I'm all for having some form of a balance between work and life.
Yeah.
But if the first thing that person I'm interviewing is asking me is about, please walk me through your PTO policy, that's somebody that's looking for a JOB. I don't want somebody who wants a JOB. I want them to have a career. And then if there is another thing that kind of stands out in the interview is when I ask them, hey, John, where do you see yourself in 3, 5, or 7 years?
No.
And then I get this. Oh, in 7 years, I would love to own my own hair salon.
The hell?
In 5 years, I would love to be in whatever it is that's not in the mortgage industry. That's somebody I do not want to hire. And I'll say to them, hey, out of curiosity, why are you interviewing today? Like, why are you interviewing? Why aren't you putting yourself in a situation that you can own your own nail salon in 7 years? Or why aren't you putting yourself in a situation where you're training canines full time?
Because my mom said I got to move out of the basement and I just need a job.
Yep. So that's not the person that I want to hire, right? I want to hire somebody that's going to come in. Now, do I care if they have experience or not? And my answer is no. Emphatically no. There's enough resources out there, whether it's Zenix,
Shout out.
whether it's the content we put up on our YouTube channel, whether it's reaching out to one of our MI partners, right? I mean, that's Arch MI, that's MGIC, that's Essent, that's Radian, that's National MI. Like the MI companies have tons of great resources. Internally, your company should have tons of great resources. The Mortgage Bankers Association has tons of great resources. I can teach the right person the mortgage business. I don't need them to have experience per se. I just need them to be coachable.
All right, that leads me to my next question. What's the runway look like? How much time should you give with this new endeavor before you either pull the cord, know it's not working, or say, like, you know, this is going to work out? 2 weeks, 3 months, 3 years? Is there a certain time frame once you onboard and get an assistant before you realize, like, I know it's like a gut feeling. You should be able to tell, like, hey, this isn't working out. But is there a time frame, like, hey, give it at least a year and a half?
That's a great question, John. And I'm going to tell you why, because I've screwed this up more times than I've gotten it right.
Let's go.
I have screwed this up more times than I've gotten it right. You are not going to change people. You're not. They can change themselves, and even so at what, 10, 20% max, right? Rarely do you see someone make a 180. Those first 90 days are crucial. You will know their aptitude. You will know their attitude. You will know whether or not this is a career or a job within those 90 days. In the minute things start smelling fishy or they seem a little bit off, stop making excuses for them. I do that. I like people naturally. I see the best in people naturally. I'm a glass half full person, which works 70% of the time. It works for me. 30% is a detriment. It's a weakness. And I'm so hell-bent on jamming that square peg through that round hole and making it work that I make excuses for people's deficiencies. Don't follow in my footsteps here. Do as I say, not as I did. You should know in 90 days. Okay. In 90 days, you should know. And then you assess in 6 months, you assess in 1 year. So you have a 90-day review, you have a 180-day review, and then you have your annual review. You should know. And the whole time as that leader, you should be also painting a picture, right? You should be verbalizing where you're trying to go with your career, how they can grow. They should hear from you how you can bring value to them. If they're not hearing that and all that person does is show up and you give them stuff to do, then they do those things and they wait for the next day for you to give them stuff to do, then they do the next things. They're not a teammate. They literally are just hired help. You don't want hired help. You want a true teammate. That requires setting of proper expectations, having a system, having a plan, and making sure that they are in tune with where you're trying to go and what they need to do to help you get there. And then you should have some kind of a carrot that you're dangling that if the team does X, then they get to do Y. If the team exceeds a certain sales goal, they could potentially benefit, and here's how. Like that should all be discussed. But when I was talking about they don't need to have experience, I say they don't need to have experience because as a sales professional in the mortgage industry, here are 3 ways. So this almost makes it real. Here are 3 ways.
Thank you. Do it so I can record it. Yeah.
Here are 3 ways your sales assistant can benefit you starting in day 1. Number 1.
Perfect.
Number 1. Pick up the phone and be awesome. Like give great phone. So much of sales is just being available to talk, right? Pick up the phone when it rings and you'll dominate in sales. Call people back within an hour, you'll dominate in sales. It's that easy. But when we get too busy because we're not maybe good enough, or maybe we are just too busy because we have way too many leads and we can't get to them all, then hiring someone in the very beginning who picks up the phone and gives really good phone, you don't need to have any mortgage experience to do that. So the first thing I'd want someone to do if they're coming in is I need you to pick up the phone every time it rings. be super nice to the people that are calling, ask good questions, figure out what they're trying to accomplish, and then get them on my schedule. Embrace them, make them feel loved, show gratitude, let them know what my availability is, figure out what their availability is, and get them scheduled. And if I am available, get me on the call right now. I'll talk to somebody for 5 or 10 minutes so that they can feel my love, feel my embrace until I can get them onto my schedule to give them a more proper allotted time frame. So the first thing they can do is just that. The second thing someone can do is they can follow up with my leads for me. You do not need any type of experience to every single day grab 10 prospective borrowers and call them and be like, hi, this is Dustin. I'm calling from XYZ Mortgage Company on behalf of John Coleman. Hey, John wanted me to call because I know you were talking to John last month about purchasing a home. Are you still looking to buy a house? Do you have any questions for John? That takes limited skills. That brings immense value to me because I worked my butt off to generate those leads. If that person, by doing so, can help me convert 1 or 2 extra leads per month, that's an extra $6 or $8 in commission that they brought in the door. They've now paid for themselves. And that's the key with bringing on a team member is there has to be an ROI component. That's where we circle back to the rule of thumb. It's 5 units for every team member. You by yourself should be able to close 60 loans a year. You are hiring an assistant so you can get to 100 to 120 loans a year. And then the commission you make on those 100 or 120 loans should more than offset the cost of your assistant. And then when you and your assistant are doing 10 loans a month, but you want to get to 15 or 20, you have to go out and hire someone else. You know who's the perfect person to hire and train your next person?
Your wife?
No, the assistant that you hired and trained 2 years ago. And now you've elevated them to maybe loan partner status, but they get to hire and train their replacement for you.
Right.
So now all of the training and the onboarding isn't on you. It's on you and your assistant who you're now going to be promoting to loan partner. Now, the third thing that they can do, right? You can pick up the phone every time it rings and be super nice, ask lots of questions and quarterback the people that are calling in. You can follow with my leads incessantly so that it doesn't not get done and so that I benefit. And the third thing you can do is you can reach out to my circle of influence, my past clients and my realtors, and get them on my schedule. Past clients need to do an annual mortgage review. If I have a database of past clients, they should have access to my database. They should be looking at everybody who purchased a home or obtained a mortgage with me in the month of August. They should be reaching out with whatever script, text, or email that I gave them and trying to get people on my calendar so I can do an annual mortgage review. An annual mortgage review is where I'm fishing for opportunities to help people finance their home, whether it's a home that they currently own or it's a home that they want to buy. That's the purpose of my annual mortgage review. That person who has no idea what Fannie and Freddie are, FHA, VA, USDA are, they can do that. And then from there, I can teach them more things to do. They can reach out to every realtor on my database and invite them to my happy hour. Every realtor on my database and invite them to my lunch and learn. They can do that. They do not need to have any type of experience in mortgage. Now, eventually, I'll teach them how to import a loan application that came in online and maybe structure loosely a file so they can pull credit and then get it prepped for me. Then eventually I'll teach them how to read a credit report. Then I'll teach them how to calculate basic income. Then I'll teach them basically how to do a conventional loan. Maybe I start with refis or for sale by owners, and then they'll get a lot of on-the-job training where I will turn them from LOA to loan partner. But in the very beginning, those are all 3 things that they can do that bring me immense value that do not require you to understand mortgage. And that is why I love hiring driven people seeking careers who are great at giving good phone, great at serving others, who want to learn, who are coachable, who have above average aptitude, but they don't necessarily need to already have mortgage experience.
Well said, Dustin. Look at you.
I think the last thing that we missed out on, and we can find a way to put a bow on this episode and wrap it up, is when I'm hiring the assistant. Like I've already given an example about how you can write specific job descriptions that attract the right people.
Right.
Okay. Maybe like I gave the example of, 3 podcasts that I would want my ideal teammate to want to dig and be into. I could also put things in there like, pink's their favorite color, right? I could put in there like must love pink and, or pink's their favorite musical artist. Like get creative with it. I use podcasts. I used to use the color. I just use a musician. What I'm trying to do is
looking for a high-driven,
yes,
intelligent
I'm trying to
salesperson
stay
that
away
is
from that.
driven and looks to succeed.
I'm trying to stay away from that because all of that is lip service. A lot of times that is BS.
That's all BS.
Those are all talking points that people picked up going through some career counseling seminar that their last employer offered them after they got laid off. You know,
Shit, I paid good money for that seminar, Dustin.
and it got you this job. Look where you are today, John. Look where you are today. So no, this is an exercise that we put people through. This is the exercise that I was teasing earlier, because there is a certain component of, the assistant you hire and the assistant that I hire may very well do a lot of the same things, but not all of the same things, right? You may be looking for one personality type, and I'm looking for a different personality type. I'm a big fan of DISC personality profiling. If you know anything about DISC personality profiling, which, by the way, Coach Christy on the TLOP faculty, that is her forte. Like, one of her secret weapons is emotional intelligence, and she is certified DISC instructor. So she does a lot with personality profiling. If you are a member of our coaching community and you're trying to hire a team member, Christy can walk you through how to use DISC to hire the right person. I've heard a lot of people say, when I'm hiring an assistant, I don't want them to be a DI on a DISC personality profile. I want them to be an S. S's love security. S's love stability. S's love to serve others. So you could use some kind of a personality profile to find the right person. If you're a DI yourself in the DISC personality profile, you don't want to hire another DI. You want to hire things that complement you. It may be an IS. It may be a DS. Like, they may be part of what you are, but they're also something that you're not. I think that's imperative to know. But then when it comes to roles and responsibilities, this right here is the one-page worksheet that I wish I remembered what we called it on the e-learning platform. But I'll make sure Nikki knows what it is if you email her. But it's a one-page document. And think of this. I'm going to try to paint it for you in case you're too scared or nervous to reach out to Nikki. Imagine taking out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you draw a line down the middle vertically, then a line down the middle horizontally. You've now created 4 boxes. 4 quadrants. Okay. In the upper left-hand quadrant, you're going to say, I'm good at / I like to do. In the next quadrant, you're going to write, I'm good at / I don't like to do. The bottom left quadrant, you're going to write, I'm not good at, I like to do. And then the far right bottom quadrant, I'm not good at, I don't like to do.
That's me and everything.
You and everything. You put life in that quadrant.
My whole
John
life.
just put life.
Yeah, just life.
Life goes like, but no, I want you to sit down and I want you to detail everything that you do for your career, task, roles, responsibilities, etc. Okay. And they need to go in one of those quadrants. The person that you hire, not only should they not be exactly what you are in the DISC personality profile, the things that you have them doing need to be all the things that are in your bottom right quadrant, which is, I'm not good at, I don't like to do. And that exercise right there will allow you to put great intentionality on what the person's going to do. And then from there, you can figure out what type of person would like to do that. What music do they listen to? What activities are they into? Like, what is their personality profile? And then when you write your job description, you're going to write the job description that speaks more to their personality and the type of person that they may be. Right? Maybe you determine that the people who like to do the things that you're not good at and you don't like to do love to garden. Right? Maybe they love to give back to their community. Maybe those types of people also really love a certain radio station. Okay. And I could put in there, my perfect teammate listens to 107.7 on Sunday afternoon while gardening before having the family over for dinner.
Submit application below.
Yes. Must be customer service focused, must love serving others. Right. And within there, I'll probably start attracting the right talent. But then what they're going to do is that bottom right-hand quadrant. Now, what do I want to do? I want to find a way that top left-hand quadrant of I like to do and I'm good at, that's where I need to be focused. That is it. And I'm assuming those are the activities that are the $200 or $500 an hour activities. Like that's the goal. And then when you look at the quadrant that says I'm good at, but I don't like to do, that person that you have hired as your assistant, as they get better in their career, as they grow within your team, they will start taking over the things that you're good at, but you don't like to do. The fact that you're good at it and you don't like to do it means that you can offload it, but you're good at it, which means you can teach, coach, and hold accountable so someone else can take it over. Now that leaves you with still dominating the things that you're good at and that you don't and that you like to do. But there's that bottom left quadrant where it says, I like to do what I'm not good at. Well, as you offload the right-hand quadrants onto your team, you can put some time and some attention to the things that you like to do but you're not good at because you've offloaded. And here's the last thing I'm going to leave everybody with. It's a mindset. And I have, throughout my career, I've spent some time and made some decisions that were 10X decisions. Right? The podcast, 10X decision, 100%. I know that looking back. I probably couldn't have verbalized it 5 years ago, but today, that was a 10X decision that I made for my professional career that'll benefit me and any mortgage company that I work for. Right? But there's been times that I was making 2X decisions. I was trying to work twice as hard in order to make twice the money. Okay, that's not how 10Xers think. And when team building, you shouldn't be thinking about working twice as hard. So what I've learned is that in business, when I'm building teams, when I'm trying to 10X, it's not a matter of how, it's a matter of who. Okay, who's going to come in and do this? And if you're truly trying to become the next mortgage millionaire, if you're trying to make President's Club, if you're trying to be a 1%er when it comes to your income, when you want to be one of the best in your company, those types of entrepreneurs and business professionals, their mindset isn't about how can I do all of this work, it's who should be doing this for me. And I would tell you that although you can follow in Ross's footsteps, and look, Ross was a 10Xer coming out the gates. So he was hiring his first assistant well before I would have coached him to. Okay, most of us, let's get to where we're generating 30, 40 leads a month. Let's get to where we're funding 5 loans a month, 6 loans a month. And you're at a point where like, look, I can't do any more and something's going to have to give. Cool. Get out there, hire an assistant. And then at that point, you now need to go to 10 to 12 loans. And once you start doing it and you get good at it, 3-5 years down the road, that's when you can find yourself funding 20, 30 loans a month, working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, taking your 4 weeks vacation, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Well said, Dustin.
So there you go. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. If y'all have any questions on this particular topic, like, look, we host these coaching calls 7 times a month. That is a phenomenal time for you to hop on, whether you're asking it of me or one of the other 5 coaches. We all have had success as well as failures or learning opportunities with onboarding, hiring, and building out teams. That's what we're here for. That's what you're paying for. Show up, ask your questions so that you can take your career to the level that you deserve. Last piece of business or last note, please make sure you're not keeping us a secret. Make sure you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. Tell all of your colleagues and anyone else you know in the real estate space to subscribe. Sign up for our newsletter. You can sign up for it at tloponline.com. If you're not currently being coached and you know that you need business coaching and sales training, check out what we're doing over at the TLOP MLO coaching community. All that information can be found on tloponline.com, or you can just email Nikki and Nikki will hook you up with anything that you need to know about our coaching community. And then finally, understand that sharing is caring. Please share this episode and this content with not 1, not 2, but 3 people that you feel like would benefit from what John and I do. And we will be internally grateful and will continue doing what we're doing. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today. We do look forward to catching you on the next episode.